Hello and welcome to the finale of 1984 Fame and Glory. I'm here with our final two of Devin and Zach, as well as the jury all off camera, ready to grill the final two about their game. But first, I would like to give each of our finalists a chance to give us their opening statements. Zach won the final head of household. And with that, he got the choice of if he would like to go first or second. In openings, the opposite would happen for closings. He chose to let Devin go first. So, Devin, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking.
How polite of you, Zach. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm good to go. First of all, thank you so much to production, and thank you even more to the individuals that made this cast whole. Casting a 20-person cast is extremely difficult to do, but if I'm not here unless there's 19 other players in this cast, so everybody played a role, everybody played a fantastic game, but I'm here to come and get what I believe is rightfully mine. I know who I'm sitting next to as well, right? I've played the same season as him. Zach Rav is a fantastic player. There's a reason why he won season 7, way back in the day over a year ago. But that doesn't make me intimidated. I didn't come into this game playing intimidated, playing scared. I wanted to play with big shields. Every single round, I would go to other people and say, I wanted to play with people outside of my season. I wanted to play outside of my comfort zone. And I feel like I did that a lot more efficiently than Zach could have done. And I'm going to be here trying to explain why I believe my winning game is a winning game. So you have to remember, coming into the game, there's 20 people in total, 4 from every single season. The people in my season alone, I didn't talk to Zach Rav, and I did not talk to Josh for over a year. That's when season 7 was played, over a year ago. I had kept tabs with Kennedy from time to time, but we didn't talk every single day. So it wasn't like I was Zach playing iSurvivor. It's not like I was Zach talking to other people before the season started. I came in fresh with 16 brand new people. The one person that I hadn't spoken to in the last 5 years was Brian Spencer, who I played with recently in a 32-person cast in which we were completely separated from the game all the way until the merge. So I'm coming in with no connections virtually at all. And yet the first HOH competition is a social competition in which I get all the way to the Final Four. And that's not a coincidence. Look at the people that were at that Final Four of that competition. It was me. It was Jeremy. It was Nicholas. All of us made the final 7 of this game. And then you had Josh, who was playing an excellent social game until the moment he was evicted. And so I believe that I did a good enough job in this pre-jury phase, because what I was doing is I was trying to establish myself as a social player, as a strategic player, as somebody who didn't necessarily want to play within these boundaries of old school, new school. But this narrative of, oh, this was my placement, and the fact that Zach got here because he was a former winner, and the fact that he should have an advantage over that, is a completely irrelevant storyline in my case, because once one winner was gone and Zach had at the final 20, you didn't see another winner go home until the final 7. If you ask me, the bigger narrative was this old school, new school, in which I had to sort of sit back every time a new old school person won and said, oh yeah, point the fingers that way. And then every time a new school person won, I had to point the fingers the other way and say, these are the people that are sort of starting the fire, but I had to sort of add the fuel to that fire. And so I made these decisions early on in the pre-jury. The first difficult vote that we encountered was at that final 15, when it was between Missy and it was between Nick. And Nick infamously said that he needed to see some conviction. But I'll tell you what, the most ironic thing is the most conviction I had in the pre-jury stage of the game was the fact that I was one of the 7 votes out of the 12, yes, to go and save Nick. It was a 7-5 vote. So all of a sudden, I'm making these decisions early on for what's best for my game, not what's best for my season, not what's best for my alliances, but what's going to benefit me more. Missy in the game, who had these alliances with Nolan, had these alliances with Josh, comparing me to some low-life Pokemon that I don't even still know or have a grasp of, but I'm getting compared to these, and Missy's telling people that I'm going to go up on the block, or do I want to play with Nick? Nick is detached. You saw in the safety chain, he was the last one selected from that new school group. He had to fight for his life in that safety chain. The others didn't. And so for me, I had to go and take advantage of the players that were staying in off the block, where I feel like I capitalized on those opportunities a lot more than Zach did. I was able to connect with my alliances, the No Big Deal Alliance with me, Brian Spencer, and Nolan, the Lights Are On 2.0 with me, Kennedy, and Zach. Those were my core people, but I also had to capitalize on different opportunities. When Crispy was out of the game, who capitalized more on the fact that Jeremy was still in the game? Was it me or was it Zach Rav? So all of a sudden we're shifting into this jury phase. And I'll tell you what, I did not play this game without fault. I played this game a little bit sloppy at times. My worst read was in that Julia versus Jeremy vote, which I've been very open about, in which I've told Julia, I think you're staying in the vote. And then all of a sudden everyone's saying, hey, how about we keep Jeremy? I had to capitalize and separate myself from Zach, from Kennedy. But if you go back to that Crispy vote, Zach and Kennedy were two people that were pushing for Crispy to go and for Michael to stay. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea, but I ended up getting strong-armed because of it. And because the fact that Crispy went over Michael, of all people, then they had to sacrifice the likes of Kennedy, had to sacrifice the likes of Julia. I could have told you this was going to happen, but nobody really wanted to take my read on it. So at that point, when Michael stayed and Crispy left, I had to detach myself from the people that I was closest to in the game and really start zoning in on how can I win this game myself. So when you're going into this, I need everybody to remember the term conviction, 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 because that's what Nick, like you said, that's what you wanted to see. The conviction is the fact that I went in and I saved Jeremy over Julia in that vote. The fact is, the conviction was the fact that I was able to separate the person I was closest to on a personal level with Kennedy and separate that from what I believed was the game move, which was saving Caleb. Conviction was saving Caleb over Kennedy at that time. And then ultimately, conviction is what got me in this final two, because at the final four, I had enough conviction to go ahead and save Zach over Nolan, which people are going to look back and say, that is the worst move. Why would you not take Nolan? But the truth is, at that final four, I knew that Nolan and Caleb were not going to take me, I don't believe, to the final two. As much as they want to say it, there will always be a temptation after they recently said, oh, the only way for us to win is to take each other. And then Michael at final five on his way out saying, oh, the only way for you guys to win, your game started too late, is to take each other. I'm not going to risk that. So I knew Caleb was going to take me. I knew Zach was going to take me. I know if I outright won at the final three HOH, I could take myself and have the opportunity to choose between a Zach and a Caleb. And Zach doesn't even know this, but at the final three, if I win that final three HOH, I'm probably slithering him out of the game and taking Caleb with me. I just had to keep that under wraps the whole entire time. So once again, the conviction is what got me to this point. No one can say that the kid from season 7 in 7th place didn't play a winning game, because I felt like I did that all the way through. Tonight, I'm willing to wear the blood on my hands. I'm willing to own up to every single word that I said in the game. I'm willing to own up to every single action that I had in this game. And I'm anxious to hear your questions. I'm anxious to get grilled.
Wrap it
but
up for me.
I'm welcoming it with open arms. I hope that everybody can come into this with an open mind. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you, Devin. Zach, you have 7 minutes. Your time starts when you start talking.
All right. Well, first, thank you to production and good luck, Devin. To everybody here, I'm not going to sit here and say that I deserve to win this game because I've already won before, and the fact that I'm sitting here, I deserve to win because of that, because that's just not the case. What I'm going to say as far as the fact that I won this game already is that I came in with a larger target than most. That's just a fact. I got nominated week 1 with another winner, and a large part of that was because we had won already. And so from day 1, I had to get my ass in gear because I knew I was likely going to go up that week. I had to make these connections extremely quickly. I had to make people feel safe and secure with me. And while I won the veto that week and took myself off the block so I didn't even have to sit on the block on eviction night, I would have felt pretty secure sitting next to Zach Ped, because I had put in the work from the very start to get secure connections with people and really bond with people and make people feel good with me and where I stood moving forward. I won 2 POVs in this game. I saved myself both times. I never even sat on the block on eviction night until final 4 when there was no other choice there. And I never had a vote cast against me this entire season. I was very much so aware of every single move that I was making in this game. The entire pre-jury, there was this whole narrative of new school versus old school, right? And people wanted me constantly. If I got power, which I had during the first double of the season, people wanted me to take a shot at Jeremy and Crispy, but I knew 1000% that was not good for my game. I don't do what's good for other people. I do what's good for me. So I wasn't about to do what made sense to them or what they wanted me to do. So instead, I put up 2 people that I knew were coming for me, Josh and Braden. I knew that they were talking about me. They were saying shit about me. They were coming for me. So what did I do? I won HOH instantly as soon as I knew that Braden was talking about me. I put them both up there and I got one of them out, and that was it. It wasn't a move that other people wanted me to make. It was a move that I had to make for myself, and I was very glad to do it. And so I kept these sides going at each other because I knew where I had to be in this game, because right from the start, I was seen as a duo with Kennedy. And that's fine. I worked with what I had. I was put in a position from the start because of that and my other connections, and I worked with it. I worked with it to get myself here, because at the end of the day, I lost my duo at Final 9, but I'm still here at Final 2. I must have been doing something right to get here at the end of the day. Brian, Jeremy, and Michael all told me on their way out, as I voted them out, I would regret it. And here I still am. That's 3 people. That's 8th, 6th, and 5th place all said I would regret voting them out, but I'm still here at Final 2. I knew exactly what I was doing this entire game. I was very confident in the moves that I was making and very aware of what I was doing and how my vote was going every single time. I had a lot of deals with a lot of different people. I was obviously working very closely with Kennedy, Nick, Devin, Julia, Nolan, all of which those people I had either solidified Final 2s with or discussed Final 2s with, like in the case with Devin here. We had never just shook hands and said Final 2, but we had obviously spoken about going to the end together, for example. But that's 5 people that I had deals with, and I was working very closely with all of them. I had a lot of information coming in from all different areas. I knew about the No Big Deal Alliance probably as soon as it was created, way back. I knew about other alliances like the Julia and Justin and Caleb one, and I think Jackson was even in that one way back. I knew about a bunch of different groups. I knew about Michael's power before Michael ever told me. I got that from Nick. I knew information from Kennedy, obviously. I knew a lot of things that were going on. I had a lot of information coming to me, and I used that to my benefit to make sure I was in the best position I possibly could have been in. Even at Final 9, as I got nominated with Kennedy, as really I knew it was going to happen as soon as Jeremy won that HOH, people were assuring me that if the nominations stayed the same, I was going to stay over her. I made sure that people knew that I could detach myself from Kennedy, but at the same time, she was a shield in front of me. And I used that to my advantage. I told people how it was. I made people feel like they could trust me. I was straight up with people when I could be, and not so straight up when I, couldn't be. And that's fine. I will own any and all lies that I said, because I know I did plenty of them. I'm just gonna, I just want to reiterate, I really, at the end of the day, I knew the position I was in. I knew what I had to do, and I did what I had to do to get here. I had a lot of sway with a lot of different people, I would say. I was really planning the entire pre-jury to keep Nick and Michael safe, because they were people from the other side. I was very much so old school. Everyone knew I was old school with Brian and Devin, Kennedy, all the way to the end. But at the end of the day, I had very good connections with Nick and Michael that I was trying to keep hidden as long as I could. And when Brian won HOH, I knew exactly where things were going to go. I knew exactly what was happening. And that pretty soon, Brian was probably going to flip on me and Kennedy, as he told me that he always had planned to. So I was trying to make sure that my bonds with Nick and Michael were as secure as they possibly could be, which then I was able to use to save Michael on Brian's HOH there and flip the vote and get Crispy out. It made sense, because I had these side alliances that I was keeping for later on in the game when they would help me. And they did exactly that. When Nick won HOH at Final 8, I felt 110% secure, because I knew he was going for other people and he wasn't going to go for me. And the same thing would have happened if Michael had won HOH around that. I just knew I was safe with them because I had been keeping good bonds with them the entire time. I was ready for the game to flip. I knew that the game was going to flip. I saw the writing on the wall and how things were going, and I was ready for it. And at the end of the day, I was able to maneuver this old school versus new school side, this duo of Jeremy and Crispy and duo of me and Kennedy, this whole back and forth thing. I had to maneuver it best I possibly could, because people were putting me in a position that I didn't necessarily want to be in. So I knew where the dynamics were. I saw how it was going, and I was ready for the game to flip on its head come jury. It did, and I'm still here at the end of the day. I'm willing and ready for any and all questions. I know the game that I played. I don't think that I should win because I have won previously. I think I should win, and I know that I should win because I've played a winning game here. That is it.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Thank you both. It is now time for the jurors to get their time with you. As I said before, they will each get 7 minutes. We're going to go in eviction order. I will give a 3.5-minute warning, so that's halfway in your time. And then I will give a 1-minute warning, all in the Zoom chat. So Crispy, you are up first. Your time will start when you start talking, Crispy.
Hello, you sneaky little fucks. Legitimately no hard feelings. Like truthfully, I was a little upset when I got voted out, but then thinking about it in hindsight, I understand, Zach, why you did it, because you were right. I was going to nominate you and Kennedy if I won HOH, so whatever. Devin, I don't really see where it made much sense for you to vote me out. And I'm not really going to ask you why you did it and why you lied in your opening speech about how you wanted to save me, because I know that that wasn't necessarily true. Instead, I am going to focus on me because this is my time and I've been out of this game a really long time. So I want to take my moment. I'm going to give you guys your official like last little challenge here. So something that I respect a lot in these games and something that I think I exceed in well is the social aspect and getting to know people, even if like you're not exactly super close with them. So I've written down 6 questions that are all about myself, and I know for a fact that I have given both of you the answers to all of these questions. So I'm going to test to see how well you know me and actually like listen to things that I got to say. So I want both hands in the screen because I don't want anyone cheating. So I'm going to ask you both separately to give me a number 1 through 6, and then I will ask the question based on that number. I'm not going to tell you if you got it right or wrong. So there we go. I'll start with Devin. Pick a number 1 through 6.
I'll go with number 3, my friend.
Okay. Where am I originally from?
I know currently right now you live in Chicago. I don't know if I could tell you where you're originally from. That would have been a conversation really, really early in the game. But I know you reside in Chicago, and Pride is coming up in next month.
Cool. Zach, pick a number.
2.
What do I do for work?
You work with special needs individuals.
Cool. Devin?
I'll go number 1.
Okay. What is my given name?
Chris.
Okay. Zach? You got 4, 5, or 6?
6.
How old am I?
30.
Okay. Devin? 4 or 5?
What is it, 5? Yeah.
5?
Is that, I don't know what numbers are left, 2 and
4,
5?
4 or 5?
Oh, I'll take 5.
Okay. What's my dog's name?
Oh, God. I can think of your dog, of your dog's face. I couldn't tell you your dog's name off the top of my head.
Okay. Devin? Or Zach? Sorry.
4, I guess.
Okay. Okay. What is my all-time favorite movie? I talk about this all the time. It should be known.
I would say Scream.
Okay. That's it. My last question / favor. Compliment me, both of you. Devin, you may start.
So, Christy, what I will tell you is before this all happened, before the final 3 HOH, we did do rites of passage. I know Caleb's only been in there for a few minutes, but we walked through every single person. And when we got to your name, I said, you're the only person in this cast that I would literally drive 45 minutes out of my way to go to an airport just to drive you into downtown. I could have left your ass out the airport, Crispy, but no, I said you're a very, very good player. But with that being said, you are an even better person, if that makes sense. And that just speaks to the volume of how you present yourself, and you give me nothing but laughs and smiles. So I appreciate, even if I don't get your vote tonight, I appreciate everything that you've taught me in and out of the game.
Okay. Thank you. Zach, your turn.
Well, you're funny. You're handsome, even with the receding hairline. And
you fucking little bitch. Do you want my vote?
listen. No, in all honesty, no, you are incredibly funny, to be completely honest, and just a great person. I am so glad that I got to meet you in person as opposed to just on online, because it's such a different dynamic versus through the screen and in person. And I enjoyed every minute we had together in the city. No one can hold their liquor like you. And, you know, you do sing some killer Alanis Morissette, I have to say. But yeah, it's just been a pleasure. You know, I was a big fan of you last season, and you were one of the people I was really looking forward to playing with here. And I'm glad that I got that opportunity, even though it ended, you know, early-ish, and I look forward to anything and everything we have moving forward together, and I do consider you a friend.
Cool. All right, that's my time. Congratulations, the two of you. Like, regardless of what happens, like, I genuinely am very proud of the both of you. Like, I want to be sitting in the final two incredibly badly, but I'm not. I'm here. You're there. So you guys did something right, and I did something wrong. So really, congratulations. Good luck with everybody else. I don't know if it's gonna get much easier, but good luck.
Thank you, Crispy. Next up, the queen herself, Miss Julia Rowe. Julia, your time will start when you start talking.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to start off by saying congrats to both of you. I think that genuinely you both played very good games. I don't take anything personal from the game. And with that, we're going to go in. I did not know Crispy was going to ask the token question that I always ask. And I ask every season. Got it from Cindy Kepik. I will not stop now. Compliment me. I don't want you to say anything about the game. Not a single word. If you say a single word about anything in the game, you lose my vote. Call me hot, call me funny, call me whatever. But don't say anything. Don't compliment me in the game. Whoever can start first, I don't care.
I can go. You're actually really, really smart. You're like one of the smartest people I've probably ever met in my life. And I'm really impressed with just you as a person. Every time I learn something new about you on a personal level, whether that be about your schooling, your family life, anything about you, I'm genuinely impressed. You're really tall, and that's really cool. And you like Texas food, but really, no, I mean, you're extremely funny. Always make me laugh. I don't know if I've laughed as hard on an org call as I have on the calls we've had. And I mean, that's just it. I can go on and on, but I think you're just a great person and a great friend. And I really am lucky to have met you 2 months ago now.
Yeah, Julia, I obviously don't have the connection with you coming into the game as you did with Zach, but what I'll tell you about you is that you are a fantastic listener. If you think back to when that whole entire situation happened, my personal character was dragged through, and at that point in time, I was just looking for somebody to talk to, not even about the game, literally just somebody to talk to sort of hear my sides of things, because I know things can spin out of control unless you take control of the narrative itself. And I remember we had a conversation literally for over 45 minutes that had nothing to do with the game, just pointing out sort of how I sort of saw certain things that were going on. You saw how certain things were sort of going on, but I couldn't have had that conversation with anybody else. And I was so appreciative of the fact that you gave me that time, because in an online game in which first place gets you nothing except maybe a piece of apparel from Michael Davis at the end of it, coming away with the friendships is, it sounds corny, but coming away with those friendships is a little bit more important. So that point in that specific moment, I'll tell you, was the lowest point that I've had probably in any individual org. And if it wasn't for somebody like you just listening to me vent and just telling you how I expressed myself, I don't know if I would have gotten to this point. So I'm appreciative of the fact that you were not only open to letting your voice be heard, but you were also willing to listen to me at a time where I really felt like I needed it.
Okay, thank you, both of you. Sad that my compliments weren't as good as Crispy's, but it's fine. It's what it is. What it is. I don't have questions. I simply have statements. I think you guys are going to get enough very in-depth questions tonight. So I'm just going to talk because I love to hear the sound of my own voice. I'm a big reality TV show fan. I'm obsessed with Survivor. I could name you everything about it. I love Big Brother. I've started watching more. And when I think of some of the biggest blunders that ever happen in a reality TV show, you think of the classics, Eric in Micronesia, Lawan in Big Brother 13, the classic mistakes of Wu taking Tony and Kaguya. Now I've added Devin voting out Nolan at the Final Four. I think that was the single stupidest move I've ever seen in a game. And I understand where you're coming from of, I know Zach takes me, blah, blah, blah. But I would rather know that I will win than have the worst read that possibly I've ever seen in thinking that sitting next to Zach will get me anywhere close to a win. Zach has had the most win equity of anyone in this entire game since pre-jury, since before we even got to the jury. Zach could probably sweep tonight. It's very likely Zach will sweep tonight. I think this was the single dumbest thing I've ever seen in a game. Again, I love you both as individuals. I think you're wonderful people, but I can't move past that decision because I just think it was pure idiocy. That being said, I think even though Michael Davis told me not to say where my vote was going, that's very obviously where my vote will be going. Zach, you have my vote. I'm excited to do what I couldn't do last time. You deserve it. You played an amazing game. And I'm so excited for you to be the first two-time winner of 1984.
Okay, thank you, Julia. Miss Kennedy, you are up next. Your time starts when you start talking.
All right, hi boys. I'm not doing the whole love you both thing because you know that. Devin, your whole pitch was about conviction. I think that's bullshit. So now I am going to ask you a question. Something that I think that you should be able to figure out. I think that won't be too hard for you. I know you're really good at answering questions and being very blunt and straightforward. So with that being said, no thinking about it, no hesitation, no, oh, I don't know how I'm thinking or feeling. Right now, give me an answer. Who should I vote for tonight?
You should vote for me
Why?
because
Keep it
regardless
short.
of what individuals say about blunders and without anything else, what they fail to see is every single move that I made was very, very calculated. As I said before, even the vote with yourself, Kennedy, and choosing between Caleb and yourself, it's obvious that our personal relationship was closer than it could ever be with Caleb. But from a game sense, I would have taken Caleb every single time, and that's another move that I don't regret. And even in that Final Four move that Julia had mentioned, me voting out Nolan guaranteed my spot in the final two. I knew what Caleb was going to do. I knew what Zach was going to do. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give myself a fighting chance against anybody in the cast out of the final 20. Anybody could sit up here next to me, and maybe it's my own ignorance, maybe it's my own arrogance, and we'll see at the end of the night. But I do give myself a fighting chance, and I'm going to leave it all out there on the floor.
All right, Zach, you don't think I'm just going to come in swinging at Devin? I love
Please.
you both equally and interchangeably. Zach, me, Julia, Nolan, rank us.
Well, so I would honestly say Nolan, Julia, and you. And if you want reasoning, I can give you reasoning. If you don't, that's okay.
Are you going to be able to keep it short?
Yes. My
ahead.
reasoning for you below them is because you told me in New York City that you could see it and you'd be willing to cut me at like 6 or 5 or 4 whenever you needed to. The second you told me that, I knew that I could trust them more than you. And then for Nolan and Julia, I had a feeling that Nolan, based on the information he was giving me throughout the pre-jury stage of it, he was giving me more information than Julia was. And I just felt like I could trust him more so. But at the end of the day, I would have gone as far as I could have with all of you, 100%.
Perfect. You boys know what's coming. Close your eyes. You both know this. We've talked about this. Close your eyes. All right. I'm going to give you a juror, and I want you to raise your hand if you think you played a better game than them. All right. Starting out strong, we have Crispy, Julia, me, Brian, Nick, Jeremy, Michael, Nolan, Caleb. Devin, raise your hand if you think you played better than Zach. Zach, raise your hand if you think you played better than Devin. All right, put your hands down if they're up and open your eyes. Either of you want to explain that?
I don't know what Zach chose. I raised my hand for every single individual because I'm confident in the fact that although there were people that won more competitions than me, there were people that maybe had a better social game than me. There were maybe people that had better strategic moves at one point in time. I felt like I was more well-rounded than every single individual winning or sitting in the jury itself. I'm interested to hear what Zach has to say, but I'm confident in my game and I'm standing behind every single choice and every single action I've ever made.
Perfect. Zach, keep it short.
I'm
I'm
just
just kidding.
I'm just a big proponent of if you're sitting at the end, you did something right that other people didn't. And I'm very, very proud of the game I played, and I know the game that I played, and I honestly feel like I'm sitting here and I don't mean this to be rude, but the jury's not. So I feel like I played a better game.
Perfect. Okay. So I don't think y'all's reads are as accurate as you think. I don't think they're necessarily completely false, but I think that each of you have something that you're a little bit off about. And so I'm going to open the floor for either of you to ask me anything as a juror. You don't have to.
I'll ask. What's my read wrong on then?
Oh, I'm not just feeding you that though. That was a
I
good.
wanted the
No,
same
no,
thing.
you're right. You're right.
Should I get
Oh,
one
Devin,
each?
you know what your read's wrong on.
Was it voting you out?
I mean, that's a part of it. Do you want like a whole summary on your read being wrong? No, if I can't do it for
Whatever
Zach, I
you
can't
want.
do it for you. But you should have had something else be your center point other than conviction for someone who has to ask the House for any damn vote. Do you want me to ask the House how I should vote tonight? Would you be happy with that?
I'm fine with whatever you feel like the best vote is for tonight. I feel like I played a superior game than to Zach. I feel like I've made points in my opening statement. I'm looking forward to questions to answering that separate my game from his.
Okay. To be fair, I am picking on you a lot more than I'm picking on Zach. I love you both.
Oh, I
You
know.
this.
Trust me. I
You-
know.
Oh, I can pick on Zach. So Zach, my little snake bitch. Why didn't we talk more? Why was I 3? Like, why did you not think it was worth it?
Why didn't we did talk, huh?
No, but with what I've heard about you and I's duo, you had some things. So tell me why I should vote for you.
Well, those are two totally separate questions and I have less than a minute. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm pretty sure I was on calls with you for the longest periods of time of anyone in this cast. So I don't know what you mean I didn't talk to you. I think you should vote for me because, I mean, you know the game that I played. You saw it firsthand. You know how I play. You know how I am. And you saw it probably better than most people here, with exception of maybe a couple or one, I feel like I've outlined my game enough here and I'll outline it with the rest of the questions, but I think I did a good job explaining my game thus far. And if not, I look forward to the rest of the jurors, asking me to explain it more because I have a lot to say if need be.
Wrap it up for me, Kennedy.
Again, I love you both. Honestly, you earn my vote tonight. Either of you could get it. I shit on you both, but all right. Good luck with the rest, because if you thought I was bad, just wait what's coming.
Thank you, Kennedy. Next up, we have Brian. Brian, your time starts when you start talking.
Hello, guys, and congrats. To see you both here is definitely cool. You both played great games, so don't forget that. But to start with Devin, congrats on getting it. Congrats on getting to the end. I think you really did play a great game. I think your game's underestimated for sure. You were the last person to be nominated in the game, went on nom to the final 8 in an all-star game. Is very impressive, especially because you had the label of being Devin Slithers and being sneaky. And I know what that's like coming into a game. And I think that definitely deserves some credit. I think some of the jurors don't necessarily see that, but I was playing close to you, so I saw a lot that other people didn't. So I kind of want you to talk about your positioning in the game, how you managed to escape the block for that long, and what moves did you make to acquire that positioning that led you to not being on the block till final 8?
Yeah, so I appreciate everything that you're saying, Brian. And so for me, early on in this game, I love to play around big shields. It's the reason I wake up every morning when I'm in work. It's the last thing I think about when I go to sleep. And so I've got these 2 big juicy shields sitting over in the new school corner, and their names are Jeremy and Crispy. And I knew Crispy coming into it. I didn't know of Jeremy. I didn't really know Jeremy's season whatsoever, but I knew of Crispy's reputation. And so every time that new school was winning, I was keeping up my appearances with them. And then every time Old School was winning, I already knew my guaranteed safety was always going to be there. I was fundamental in the fact that Old School definitely needed me. Zach, I knew was going to take me as far as he could into this game. I knew my personal relationship with Kennedy was going to translate over into the game itself. I knew the minute that Nolan and I started speaking, Nolan and I were going to be good. I knew I was good with Justin. I knew I was good with Caleb. I knew I was good with a lot of different people. That being said, I put those people on the back burner and said, let me try to get out of my comfort zone as much as possible. Let me try to talk to Jeremy and Crispy, not only when they have power, but how about when they don't have power? Because sometimes someone needs to love you at your lowest moment. That way they can appreciate you when you're at your highest moment. Jeremy and Crispy both came to me in the middle of the game, and they said something that really stuck out to me. They said, I heard you were coming after me, and so if I did have HOH, I was going to put you up on the block at one point in time. That being said, I tried to clear the air with them. My most uncomfortable conversations that were the most efficient conversations were conversations that I had with Julia. I know she's not going to vote for me. I had with Jeremy, and I had with Crispy, because I knew if I could make the people that were uncertain about me more certain, I knew my position was golden. And at that point, when we're in the live nights at the jury, my game was clear. I could get to the end. It was just about who I wanted to sit next to.
Okay, thank you. And Zach, same to you. I think you played a great game. With the threat level you had coming in and playing as a winner, it's very impressive that you're here right now. But to kind of ask your question, I think that like the difference between you and Devin is Devin was positioned where he wasn't hitting the block, whereas you were positioned where almost each round there was at least one person in the game who was looking to take you out. And I think that's the biggest difference between the two of you. So and specifically the round that you voted out Michael over Crispy, I totally get why that was the way that you voted. It definitely made sense for your game. It definitely worked out. But kind of the way you went about it, you kind of ignored me that day and you totally like let me know like we're not on the same terms. And after that moment, because of the way that you kind of like went about that vote, waited to the last second to tell me about it, I was fully going to come after you if I won another competition. I didn't, so it worked out into your favor. But if I did, I would have had you would have been my target for sure. So kind of like, why did you go about it that way? Was it your intention to have like your targets known, to have people coming after you, and kind of talk about that as your strategy?
Well, I feel like honestly, there was no way coming into this game there was ever going to be a point where someone wasn't going to be coming for me. That's kind of how I looked at it. So while I commend Devin for making it to Final 8 unnommed, I don't think that there's a way I could have done that with this cast. I just wasn't possible. So what I did instead was I made it known who my targets were, because if you can tell people I'm going for them and not you, they will feel safe with you. And that's what I did. I was constantly telling people, I'm coming for Jeremy, I'm coming for Crispy, I'm coming for Nolan. In reality, I wasn't coming for any of them. I made everyone think that I wasn't good with Nolan because I knew how good I was with Nolan, and Nolan would know that I was saying that. I spoke to both Jeremy and Crispy and I let both of them know, yeah, if people ask, I'm going to say I'm coming for you guys, but I'm not. And they said, yeah, absolutely, same thing. So I let people think they knew where my head was at when it actually wasn't. As far as Crispy's vote goes, I didn't want to lie to you any more than I had to, because I already knew before that veto, when me and Kennedy sat on call and you were like, but Kennedy, like, you're not using it, right? You're not using it. You're not using the veto, like that whole thing. She and I knew already sitting there what we wanted to try and make happen. And I can honestly say, I don't like lying. I don't enjoy it. I do it in the games because I have to, but I don't like it. So in ignoring you, it was just me trying to lie to you as little as possible, but I knew it was going to ruin shit between us. I already knew that. And in all honesty, I expected you to fully flip on me and Kennedy very quickly after that, which is why I had to get Crispy out there, because I knew what you were going to do.
Yep, definitely. All right. And I running low on time, but kind of last question to both of you. Make it quick, like 30 seconds. I know we only have like 2 more minutes, but what was your best lie in this game and why did you have to make that lie? Either one of you can start.
I'll start. I think once we got down to that final 6, that's the moment that I knew I was going to sit in the final 2 already. I had Jeremy, who I don't know if Jeremy really genuinely would have taken me to the final 2, but I knew Jeremy was at least going to take me to that final 4 stage. But I knew once Jeremy was gone and I knew once Michael was gone, I knew I was going to be sitting in the final 2. That's something that you can't say for a lot of other people. Think about it. You're in the final 4 of a 20-person all-star cast game, and you feel more comfortable at the final 4 than you did at the final 20 when you're just getting to know every single person. Once I got my footing in, it was game over from the start. I knew my spot was guaranteed. It was just about who was going to sit next to me.
I think my best lie was the season-long lie that I had going on, where I was telling everybody that I didn't feel good with Nolan. I didn't know where Nolan's head was at. Every time we had a social comp, I was writing Nolan's name down in the attack, defend, repair thing. I wrote down Nolan over and over and over again to make it known I'm going for Nolan because I don't know where his head's at. When in reality, I knew damn well if he won HOH, I was not going on that block. So that was a lie I had from day one until Nolan left that game at Final Four. I didn't expose it even when I sat with Devin one-on-one, pleading for him to not evict me. I didn't even let it go then. I was fully ready to die on that hill and let it be gone out of the game with me.
Wrap it up for me, Brian.
All right, thank you guys. I think you both played incredible games. So regardless of the outcome tonight, you should both be satisfied with the way you played. Goodbye and good luck.
Thank you, Brian. Nicholas, you are up next.
Oh, not me just unmuting and not starting my video. Okay. Hi. So before I get started, congratulations, making Final Two. Not easy to do, especially in such a high caliber cast. Something I guess I infamously said was about conviction. So Devin, we're going to go ahead and start with you. First off, I just want to give you a heads up of what I've been saying in jury. My vote list between the three of you, including Caleb before he was evicted, was Zach to me made most sense to vote. And then there was a big Mariana Trench gap. And then there was you, and then there was Devin, and to be honest, or you, and then Caleb. And then to be honest, you guys, in my head, although I would have leaned to vote you in that scenario, kind of interchangeable at that point. You also touched on the conviction thing. Thank you, because it makes me think. It lets me know that you thought about that. But I just want to let you know why I think that about you. And two big examples you used in your speech was the vote between me and Melissa. Thank you for keeping me. I might not have said it if I didn't have your vote. And the Jeremy vote between Jeremy and Julia. And I just want to say why I actually still don't believe you. Because here's the thing. I give the Missy thing more to Zach and Kennedy than I do you and Brian, although I definitely needed you and Brian. But it's because Zach and Kennedy were sitting there on call, driving it into my head from the minute that nominees stayed the same. From the absolute minute, Nom stayed the same. I had Zach especially, but Kennedy also in my ear saying, we are going to do this. We are going to get to keep you. We are going to be talking about it. And I can't actually remember your role in that because, and it would stick out. I wish I was still in our chat, but I'm not. Because it would stick out that you were on call saying, Nick, I got you no matter what, win, lose, come hell or high water. No, it just still feels like you were waiting to see what the house was doing. And then you jumped on. You made sure that there was a possibility and then you did it instead of standing firm. And same thing with the Jeremy vote. You tried to say that you were a big thing for Jeremy. No, you were not. Me and Michael stood firm. You found out me and Michael's vote and then you co-signed. You and Brian co-signed, and I'm not yelling at you. I love you. I'll buy you a drink when we meet one day. I promise. Because I just want you to know, to me, conviction is so important because why the fuck are we playing this game in an All-Stars game of an All-Stars cast if you're not ever going to sit there and say, I'm doing this for this reason because it's good for my game. Every single time I talked to you, it was let me check with the house. Oh, got to see what the house says. Wait, I haven't heard from the house. Every single time. I had to hear through the grapevine near cutoffs, near deadlines of how you were voting. So if you could explain a little bit more, what are the decisions that you stood on firm, you stood firm on first, and then people jumped on? Because to me, it was people stood firm and then you jumped on.
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, Nick, that in the vote between you and Missy, my vote never wavered to ever save Missy because I knew, one, that Missy had an alliance with Nolan and Josh. And I knew Josh was coming after Zach, myself, Kennedy at that point in time. So I knew that I couldn't have Josh in this game with attachments to other people. And I also knew Missy was coming after me. What you really don't see behind the scenes, and I think you forget from our chat, is that at the very end, I go to you in the chat and I say, just so you know, I spent hours on hours on hours on call getting the vote to go your way. I said it was either going to be 6-6 or 7-5, but my vote was going to stay firm. So as much as Zach and Kennedy want to say, oh, we're saving you and reassuring you, It was me out there doing the groundwork, talking to every single person that I knew was going to be a swing vote and said, get your act together. This is what's going on. So that vote, I will stand by it. I never once wavered. And even if I was a minority, you were going to stay. With that other vote, you're 100% right. My worst read on the game was telling Julia that I think I'm going to save her and then having to ask other people. That being said, I followed up and I doubled down. I had a 2-hour call with Kennedy saying, this is why I fucking did it. I had a call with Zach the next day. I said, this is why I did it. And I was able to repair my relationships. Let me ask you this. When people were nominating Zach, how did Zach capitalize on repairing his relationships? It sounded like the only deal he made with Jeremy was a 1-round deal, but it was me when Crispy left that capitalized on working with Jeremy. It was me that capitalized on going through these long conversations, working with the people I was uncomfortable with. So as much as people want to say to your face, oh, we got you, it was me getting the job done saying, these are the numbers, this is what the vote's going to be. And every single time I told you what the vote count was going to be, the vote count came right. And I know you're running low on time, but tell me this, when it was me and you on call talking about conviction and talking about voting out Kennedy or Caleb, it was me and you that made that decision together. And I talked to Brian, made the same conviction call, and I said, I think I have to vote out Kennedy. And there was no point in time that I would have wavered my vote to vote out Caleb instead.
And I want to say, I'm again not yelling at you. I love you. If we ever get to meet, I will buy you a drink because I really do. I don't take anything personally. I just talk loud. And then I'm gonna move over to Zach. Devin, you played a great game. You're there. I'm not. I can sit here and nitpick all fucking day, but you played a great game. So good job, Devin. Zach, I'm gonna turn to you. A big thing that some people might worry about, and also I worry about a little bit, is what were your new organic relationships that you built in the game? And I also want to preface the fact that I actually think both of you just use mostly the relationships you had before this game. I know, Devin, you said you didn't have that many, but at the end of the day, you still were like, your closest allies were the people that you named. And Zach, I think same for you. Your closest allies were that. So Zach, less than a minute. Can you touch on that real quick?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I have a really organic relationship with you, Nick, with Michael, even, you know, Crispy and, you know, Jeremy even, because at the end of the day, I knew Jeremy from another game where I actually voted Jeremy out. So coming into this, we didn't have a great relationship, but I worked to repair that so that moving into for the whole pre-jury, once Jeremy put me up after week 1, I was like, we're fine, whatever. So we were fine for the rest of the pre-jury there. So I worked on that relationship. I had never spoken to Crispy before this, aside from a prod to player level. Same with you, same with Michael. I had really genuine connections with you and Michael. I was loyal to you, Nick. I was gonna go, you know, as far as I possibly could. When you left, my top 2 were you and Nolan. And if Nolan had gone, I would have brought you to the end gladly. Who else did I have, you know, genuine, I mean, I'm trying to think of who I was really close to that I had good relationships with like that. Brian, I felt really good with Brian. Never spoken a word to Brian before this game whatsoever. Worked very, very close with Brian until the jury happened, and then obviously shit hit the fan, and that's fine. But yeah, I did make good connections. Missy, like, you know, people like that, I made good connections with them. Yes, I did, you know, work very close with people I knew, but that goes for everybody. It's an all-star cast. People know each other from their seasons. I know Kennedy from mine, and then I know Nolan and Julia from elsewhere. But at the end of the day, everyone had outside connections. Look at Devin and Brian, you know, it's the same thing.
Wrap it up for a minute.
Not me. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Nicholas. Next up, we have Jeremy. Jeremy, your time will start when you start talking.
Sorry, I needed that to mentally deal with the amount of bullshit that I just had to listen to. Okay, first thing that I want to address, because I made notes while y'all were talking throughout the questions / through your notes. There are 3 people that I know of that survived an actual backdoor plan this season, and none of you touched on that fact. And they are you, Zach, you, Devin, and Caleb, who ironically were the final 3, which I think is kind of funny. Zach, did you throw the final 7 HOH?
No.
Did you throw the final 7 veto?
Which one was no, because I knew I was going up. Huh?
That was the loved ones comp.
No, because I knew I was going up if I lost.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you said that, because I genuinely thought at one point that you threw those competitions. And I was like, if he is that cocky to think that my deal would actually be good at Final 7 after all of this,
I knew what was going on instantly.
because my goal was to make you comfortable. And if it actually worked, it would have been a discredit to your game. I'm going to expose Kennedy's answer a little bit. The hands thing, Zach, you lowered your hand slowly, but lowered it when Kennedy said my name, and Devin, you did not. Devin, I think that if I sit in the final 2 next to you, I probably win unanimously. And that's not me being cocky. That's me saying that I played a fucking amazing game. And the fact that you think you played a better game than me is actually a little bit insulting after the way that you treated me on my way out. So that. Also, your bad reads, just generally speaking, your reads are atrocious. You had 3 opportunities to take out Zach, and you wasted all 3 of them. And now you're probably going to lose to him close to unanimously. So I hope that informs your decisions in future games, because I genuinely think that those 3 times were the stupidest moves of the season. However, besides those 3 points, I think you played an amazing game of Big Brother.
I appreciate it.
I think that you navigated the social structure of the game and saw where the threats were and was able to position yourself very well in between what was going on to make sure that you weren't necessarily a target, but you also weren't necessarily anyone's number 1. So you didn't get targeted. And the minute you did get paired with a number 1, which was Brian, you started trying to separate yourself from Brian.
Yeah.
Zach, your narrative in this season was kind of built by me by accident a little bit, I guess, by putting 2 winners up on the block round 1. So now looking at a winner sitting in final 2 when there was only 3 of you and 1 of you went home round 1 when 2 of you were sitting on the block is extremely impressive and probably adds more to your game than I wish it did. I don't know where I'm going with all of this. I'm just saying things at this point. Okay, Zach, I think that you played strongly, and I think that you played with conviction, but I also felt like at times you were playing a game of like cat and mouse almost. And like it seemed as though you were always trying to paint someone as the cat and paint someone as the mouse so that you would be like off to the side. That was my perception of your game. So like talk that for a second.
That's an interesting comparison. I wish I had more time to think of an example of that, but that sounds like me, trying to, because like I said, coming in being nominated week 1, it's not easy. And I knew that there was never going to be a point in this game where someone didn't want to nominate me. I knew that there was no way around that. So the best thing I felt that I could do was put the target on other people, paint it on other people, and kind of lay low until I had to come out there and win a competition. So I don't have a great example of this cat and mouse thing, but I'm sure I did it. It sounds like me, and it sounds like what I had to do to survive in this game.
Not to call out Kennedy, but she did say in the jury that often the decision between the 2 of you was that you would throw competitions and she would win them so that she would take all the heat for the decisions. Which is great gameplay if that was a strategy, but that would be an example of what I was seeing, like letting Kennedy take the heat for things that would benefit both of you.
I don't remember ever having a discussion with her like, yeah, you're going to win the next one and then I'll get the one. I don't remember having that conversation. Certainly there were times when, like in the social comps or whatever, when it came down to like her and me, like in the attack, defend, repair one, I didn't want that win. She was still in, so I was perfectly fine bowing out, but I don't remember saying to her, yeah, you're going to take the heat, whatever. Did I let her take the heat? Absolutely. But I never had that conversation with her unless I'm totally forgetting. And if I am, then I'm sorry.
Okay. Devin, my perception of your game is that it was Slithers. But I ultimately, like my biggest flaw that I see in your game, and ironically, this is going to sound bitter, but it's not from a place of bitterness. It's from a genuine like confusion game sense, is my vote out.
Yeah.
There is no world in which vetoing Zach at Final Six does anything other than benefit Zach's resume going into the finale. And then you chose to save him again after that.
Yeah.
So please explain that to me.
Yes, so I'll tell you right now because I know we only have 1 minute, but so going into that, the call that you were on with me, you, Caleb, Nolan, that's the call that I got. I never got any word that you were going to sit up on the block if Caleb had won HOH. So when you go up on the block, I know either you or Zach have to go at that point in time. I thought you played a superior game to Zach at that point in time. And when after the veto had been played and I had won, I asked Michael, I say, Michael, who are you going to vote? Michael tells me I'm torn. Nolan is notorious for swing votes, and Nolan does not decide until the last minute and votes with his heart. So at that point in time, I know the decision is in my hands. If I take Zach off, you're going to go. If I take you off, Zach is going to go. At that point in time, I knew Zach was more likely to bring me further in the game than you were, because I felt like if you had the opportunity at Final Four, you would have sat there with anybody and won that you feel like. But at the same time, I feel like you would have chosen Caleb or Nolan over me.
Wrap it up for me, Jeremy.
I wasn't, so your read was once again wrong. I would have taken you to Final Three and cut Nolan for fourth because I felt like he had a better chance of beating all of us in the final challenges, which obviously was my bad read, but anyway. So yeah, good luck to you both. You both played a hell of a game. I just think that one of you made some mistakes in who you ended up bringing you to the end, and that's going to be your downfall in this jury.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next up, we have Michael Michalonis.
Hey guys, congrats to both of you. I love you both. I think you both did play amazing games, truly. Different, but amazing. And I have no ill will towards either of you. You both bested me. And Zach, you were honest when I was on the block at the Final Five. Like, yeah, I have to put you out. So I appreciate that. You guys have kind of said a lot between your opening speech and all these questions. So questions are a little more lighthearted and fun. Well, my first one's a little more game related. So I'll start with you, Devin. How did I most importantly factor into your game?
I'll be honest with you, Michael. So this game quickly became about old school and new school, and I didn't play any sort of role in diffusing that situation because it doesn't benefit me to diffuse that, because the people that are paying the price in old school are going to be Zach and Kennedy, and the people in new school that are going to be paying the price are people like Jeremy and Crispy. But where you come in is, I feel like with Jeremy and I feel like with Crispy and a couple of other, like Nick, their agendas are set on certain players, whereas with you, we could have a conversation and you'll just tell me straight to my face and you'll be like, here's sort of what I'm thinking, but you'll ask for I felt like there was a lot more give and take with me and you in our game relationship. And that's just the way that I perceived it. And once again, in endurance competitions, I think you bring out the best in me, because after you went, it was me picking up all of the endurance wins. So for you, the way that you helped my game out was the fact that if I needed a number to go ahead and save me in that final 8 vote against me and Brian, I knew at the end of the day, you had told me, I'm good, can't get on call, but you're good, you're good, you're good. I did not for 1 second believe that anyone in that final 8 vote was going to vote me out, including you. And it's because of when I talk to you, I just get a sincere, I trust him kind of vibe from him. And that's either gameplay on your end or that's who you really are. But either way, it's credit to you.
Okay, well, thank you. Zach, same question.
You factored into my game because I had a lot of, honestly, I put a lot of stake in you and Nick specifically in terms of, this whole old school, new school thing. I was ready for the tables to turn when they did eventually. And I was banking on you and Nick being the people who I could turn to. And that's exactly what I did. So you and Nick, I was just waiting, letting y'all know I'm good with you guys. I'm trying to help you guys. There were social comps where I couldn't exactly help you and Nick because of my relationships with people like Devin and Brian, but I was ready and waiting for shit to flip on its head come jury, and it did. And when that happened, I was fully with you and Nick, and I was ready to go as far as we could together there. But yeah, you were a great ally for me. You kept me safe when you won. I knew that if you won, I was safe, and that's the thing. You told me at Final Five that if I kept you and you won it, you won the veto at 4, you would have kept me. I mean, whether that was a lie or not, I did believe you because I did have a lot of trust in you there. But it was a matter of, and I told you at the time, it was a matter of I got to get myself there, and I couldn't beat you in those comps. But yeah, you were a big part of my game.
Thank you. And now for just the fun question. So you can only name jury members. That's it. Fuck, marry, kill. Devin, you can start again.
Fuck, marry, kill. Just what? Anybody on jury?
Yep.
Oh God. Oh man, you're trying to expose me now, Michael. I'm going to go with Michael. I am going to marry you, Michael. I am going to with exposing myself, with potentially not exposing myself. I guess I'm gonna go fuck with Caleb. You know, me and Caleb, you know, and then kill. Oh, I don't know. The way Kennedy was picking on me tonight, I think Kennedy might be the kill option out there. So that's gonna be my answer for you.
Thank you.
I would probably have to go with. Is it weird if I say fuck Kennedy? I don't think so. So say that I'd probably marry. Like Nolan would be good company in a house, like a marriage, but I don't think it would last. Like, so probably like Nick, and then kill. Probably kill Crispy because he'd enjoy it.
Okay. I would have married you, Zach, so that sucks. But kidding. Love you both. Great job. Yeah, that's all I have. Good luck.
Thank you, Michael. Next up, we have Nolan. Nolan, your time will start when you start talking.
Welcome to my TED Talk. Congrats on Final 2 to both of you. What I'm about to say, I don't know what I'm about to say. I don't normally prepare these types of things, so it's just going to be my thoughts. You know, Devin says I vote from the heart, so I might as well speak from the heart now, I guess. First off, Zach, not thinking our marriage would last, what the fuck? Despite all this, you know, Devin, I'm not upset you evicted me because you evicted me. I'm upset from a game perspective because I told you this would happen. And I don't want to be that guy, oh, I told you so. But, like, here we are. And, you know, the thing that, like, really boggles my mind is that, like, you could have beat me and Caleb in those final 2 comps. And I was sitting there like, holy shit, Devin's about to win. You were up 2 points in the final 3 part. And you pulled a Detroit Lions and you fumbled the fucking ball. And, you know, it happens, but I think, you know, you put yourself in comps, because the thing that really, you know, hurts my brain is the fact that, like, people always said when they got evicted, people would say with their heart who they thought was playing horrible. And not once did Zach ever get anything bad, except for maybe someone saying like, oh, you're going to regret this going forward. But everybody knew. And it's reality perception, whatever, pilot, passenger, all this survivor bullshit. Everyone knew that Zach was the biggest threat to win at the end. And I feel like, while everybody, like players like you, me, and Caleb, and all these other big threats, that are sitting here in jury, we played off taking out the smaller players because we knew the big threats would be shields. But I find you here sitting next to one of the biggest threats, and you know, obviously you tried to use the shield strategy, and I think you did it too like early, like you played too late, you know. And the one thing that really confuses me, and I want to ask you because I don't want to just not ask people questions, that'd be rude, is on the Julia vote, you know, I kind of swindled that thing or whatever. Were you actually going to evict Julia, or were you actually going to evict Jeremy, like despite what me and Brian were saying to do?
So Brian was pretty clear that he wanted to vote out Julia. I thought it was a complete misread on behalf of Zach and Kennedy specifically to go ahead and push for Crispy to go in the vote before, because I knew what was going to happen. There was a chat with me, Zach, Kennedy, and Brian. And for some reason, what people don't really realize is I'm on call with Kennedy and have her completely convinced to vote out Michael over Crispy. And Crispy says he doesn't believe me, but there was a 2-hour call that took place in which she had told me to my face, that's what I'm going to do. But Zach came in and it was a misread on my part because I didn't know if Zach and Kennedy talked before. But Zach basically strong-armed the vote to vote out Crispy over Michael for whatever reason, because he felt like he was closer with Nick, closer with Michael. And so with that being said, in that vote of Crispy, once Crispy left, it fractured the trust. So the wrong person won HOH in the Julia eviction, which was Kennedy, because unfortunately Kennedy can't even vote in that vote. So all of a sudden, even with your vote to save Julia, I knew that Brian in the heat of the moment was going to do whatever it takes to take another shield into the next round with Jeremy. And I felt like for my game, if Brian's going to jump over to the other side and there's a potential, Nick, Michael, Brian, and Jeremy, I want to hop on that train as fast as possible. That's what's best for my game. I have to distance myself from my season. So to answer your question, the whole entire time, once Jeremy told me this person, this person, this person, this person are saving me in the vote, I did that for my individual game. I wasn't going to let anyone strong arm me 2 rounds in a row.
Thank you. And one more question. I dragged you for this earlier when I won HOH or POV or something in Final Five. I don't know. But here it says on your 10 gauge profile, and I quote, "Don't get it wrong. I'm great because I let my actions speak for themselves, not my mouth." Can you please explain this philosophy in this game?
So I'm a firm believer that whatever you do, you have to put 100% into. And what people really don't realize is even though I didn't win a competition all the way until halfway through the jury, what I did was so fundamental in this game. Every single person that I wanted to vote out ended up going home. I voted in the majority every single time. I ended up, even if the person I didn't want to stay stayed, I made them believe it so that I wanted them to stay the whole entire time. You know what I mean? So for me, it took me all the way until the final 8 to get nominated. Go check out Facebook posts. Yeah, we got former winners, we got former runner-ups. But guess what? Who's out there saying slithers, slithers, slithers on their Facebook posts? Zach says his position in the game coming in was compromised. My position, apples and oranges, was also compromised in the game. I had to meet 15 different people for the very first time, or at least the first time in 5 years. So please, somebody explain to me how I was able to diffuse that narrative with 15 different people and go unnominated through the first 12 rounds of this game.
Thank you. That was a very good answer. Zach, Devin points out this stat, but I think you have a very impressive stat too, as of not sitting on the block as a final nominee until the final 4. I do think Devin did save you in some situations, but I don't think, I don't know if that's because he wasn't had bad reads or if it's because you actually had that relationship with him. So can you please dive into your relationship with Devin? Because that's something I'm curious to learn about.
I mean, Devin and we obviously came into this game after our first season and we didn't have the best of relationships leaving that game. I was responsible for him leaving in our original season. So I knew that I had to do everything I could in this game to make Devin think that I was with him. Devin said earlier in his response to Jeremy that he felt like I was going to take him further than Jeremy would, and that's why he wanted Jeremy to go. I think that was totally wrong. And so I think that in itself proves to me how much work I put in to make Devin feel safe with me, so that Devin did save me in those situations and felt good keeping me around. Because in reality, I wasn't going to go to the end with Devin, and probably based on what Jeremy said, Jeremy was definitely wanting to take Devin further than I was. So I think a lot of it was me actually making Devin feel safe, because there's no logical reason for Devin to use that veto on me at final 6, but he did. And I think a lot of it is because, as he said himself, he felt safer with me than he did with Jeremy. And I think that's a result of the work that I put in.
Wrap it up for me, Nolan.
All right. Thank you to both of you. Like I said, it's no big, you blindsided, you blurred the trust pack. I can't finish the sentence. Good luck to both of you. And may the best person win. No hard feelings.
Thank you, Nolan. Next up, we have Caleb, last but certainly not least.
Can you guys see me?
Yep. Caleb, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking.
Awesome. So first off, guys, I want to say that I'm absolutely so proud of both of you. I think both of your games were phenomenal. I think you're not getting enough credit, Devin. So I want to give you the chance to speak for yourself here. This is your last chance. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this. So explain your game, because it's not over for you just yet, but explain your game, okay? Because right now, like, I don't know how it's going to go for you. So just explain your game.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the platform to at least talk about my game in general. What people don't realize is that coming into the game, once again, I sound like a broken record, but my connections coming into the game were literally not there whatsoever. The fact that I wasn't able to touch the block in 12 consecutive rounds, and then Zach all of a sudden says, oh, well, it's a bad read on his part to take him down. Caleb, when you were HOH at that final 6 and put Jeremy on and Zach on the block, we never talked about that whatsoever. But I knew in that specific moment, Jeremy had a better case to win this game than Zach did. So with that being said, I had to clean up what you were doing. I didn't feel like Zach being on the block was really necessary, because for my game, I didn't trust where Michael was going to vote. I didn't trust where Nolan was going to vote. So the only way that I trust it, and I've said this time and time again in the closing stages of this game, that I need for people to be, I need to know where the vote's going to be. I need to be in control of the current situation. I knew that if I pulled Zach down, there was no way that Zach can say he wasn't going to take me to the end. Zach won the final 3 HOH and chose to take me instead of you. I don't know what he's talking about with that. At the final 6, when I pull him down, I guarantee I jumped all the way up to his number 1 above Nolan. And we saw Nolan in the final 4 say on his way out, oh, I was going ahead and, you know, I pre-gamed a little bit with Zach talking about who was in the game. Once again, literally did not talk to a single person coming into the game about whether they were going to play or whether they were not. I was approached by one person that they were going to play. I'm not going to specifically say who that person is, but that's the only communication I had coming into the game. So for my game, former winners, comp B, social threats, strategic masterminds, I felt like I was way more well-rounded. And what every single person on the jury has not done is ask Zach what the one big move he made was, because I feel like I had 5 or 6 moves that nobody has just asked me on what to do. Whereas Zach has had a couple misreads on his part that nobody just wants to point out.
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate it. I wanted to give you a chance to talk there. Zach, I would like, you know, you obviously being a previous winner is a big deal getting to this point, you know, and I think you should be absolutely so proud of that. But like Devin said, what was the number 1 move that got you here? Because yes, you're a great, I think you played a great overall game, but I want to know what's the one move that got you to the spot right here?
I think the one move, I mean, it's hard to say that move got me here, but if you want my biggest move, which I think is what you're asking for, my biggest move, I would say, is getting the votes to get out Crispy over Michael, the first round of jury. It was essential for my game that Crispy leave instead of Michael. I told that to Kennedy. I remember it like clear as day in my messages with Kennedy. Kennedy, you know, said to me like, you know, oh, so we need Jeremy to go this week. And I said, no, we need Crispy to go this week. This is before noms even happened, I'm pretty sure. I said, we need Crispy out this week. And because we needed to make sure that Michael stayed, because Michael was going to be loyal to me and Kennedy. And I knew that when push came to shove, Michael was likely to be more loyal to me and Kennedy anyway. And that was confirmed at final 9 when I was on the block with Kennedy. And Michael said to me that if the noms stayed the same, he was saving me over Kennedy 100%. So I got on call with Devin for that Crispy vote. Devin started off that call 100% saying that Crispy needed to go. By the end of that call, Devin wanted Crispy gone, and I got on call with Kennedy immediately after, and Kennedy just said, what did you just do? I called with Devin for hours earlier and he did not budge. You just called with Devin for 20 minutes and now he's telling me he wants Crispy gone. So yeah, to me, that I think getting Crispy out there is my move, and that is my biggest move, because it was essential that Jeremy and Crispy got split up. Brian's HOH didn't work how he wanted, and Michael stayed.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll give out shout out to Jeff, who asked for a shout out, by the way. Anyway, something that I relate to in a game is music. I always relate how I feel and emotions with music. So I want you guys to each like say a song that represents the game that you played, and whoever just wants to go first.
I'll be honest with you, mine's gonna be the good old days from Guitar Hero. I'm gonna go Barracuda on mine. I was willing to literally snatch at anybody with a fast pace, easy to go to song for anybody that's a beginner on Guitar Hero, but at the same time, one of the most iconic songs. I'm going to stand behind every single move that I made. So yeah, I'm going to go with Barracuda for mine.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
I can't think of a good one that really represents my game. I would probably, oh my God, my game. This is so bad. I'm gonna say Rolling in the Deep. I like that. I like that title. I think it really fits the whole theme of the entire season and my game specifically, and I like that one. I like that choice.
Awesome. All right. Well, then I'll just finish it off with some statements then here. You guys both have killed this game. You are absolute pleasures. I'm so glad that I got to meet both of you. I think you both have played phenomenal games. Whatever the results are tonight, you both killed it. You were the final two and the All-Stars that none of us else can say we did. And at the end of the day, oh my God, thank you, Michael, for that. You all are amazing at that. So the only thing else I could just say is that I think you both have a good representation of the season. I think out of everyone, I don't think none of us would have picked that as the final two coming into the season. I may be wrong about other people's opinions here because I'm not reading the jury chat, but I'm so proud of both of you. And whatever happens tonight, you should be so proud of your game because you fucking killed it. You're the final two. You did that, and good luck to the both of you. And I'm so excited to see the outcome. So yeah.
Thank you, Caleb.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, take a deep breath. It is now time for closing statements. As Devin went first in openings, Zach will go first in closings. You will have 2 minutes. I will put a 30-second warning in the chat. Zach, your time will start when you start talking.
I think that I've said, a lot about my game here. To reiterate the key points, I think is that overall, from the start of this game, I had to work on my relationships and make people feel safe with me, even if they weren't. I made sure people felt like if I won HOH, they were safe, even if it wasn't necessarily the case. As I said before, I threw out names for who I was gonna target, whether it was true or not. I lied straight to people's faces because I had to do what I had to do to make people feel secure with me. I had a lot of deals. I had a decent amount of alliances going on. And I just knew I knew what I was doing. The first time that I voted incorrectly or the vote went how I didn't want it to go was when Julia went home at final 10. That was the first time. So the entire pre-jury and even the first round of jury, I was working hard to make sure that votes went my way, even if they almost weren't looking that way. Like in the Missy and Nick vote, I was firmly pushing for Missy to go there, and I made sure that it happened. I knew what I was doing in every step of this game. I made sure that Devin felt safe enough with me to that point where he would save me numerous times throughout the jury. And even still, he sat there and told Caleb that he is confident that in my trust rankings, once he vetoed me, he shot up to #1 over Nolan. Another wrong read. No one was going to be above Nolan. I have trust, rankings in my prod chat. Devin was actually third, even after he vetoed me there. Michael and Nolan were both above him at that point because I know how Devin plays. Even though he vetoed me, I knew exactly what his game was there. So, I felt like I had decent reads. I had a lot of information coming in. I knew about a lot of different alliances instantly. I knew about the backdoor plan for me at 7th. As soon as that chat with Devin, Caleb, Nolan, and Jeremy was made, then Devin, sat and called me, didn't tell me a thing about it, but I knew all about it. So I knew at the end of the day, he didn't really have my back. So I knew what was going on, used the information I had to the best of my abilities, and I played the best game that I could. I'm proud of it. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to production, and we'll see how it goes. Good luck, Devin.
Thank you, Zach. Okay, Devin, your 2 minutes will start when you start talking.
Yeah, so obviously I've gotten a lot of flack from a lot of different jurors tonight on wrong reads, right? But at the end of the day, I'm still at the final two. And at the end of the day, I'm still arguing for my case to win this game against Zach. I knew that coming in against Zach was going to be an uphill battle. Had I won the final 3 HOH, yes, Zach would have been out, Caleb would have been in. That being said, at the final 6, I felt confident in my decision at the time. In every single point in this game, I felt confident in my decision at that point in time. Looking back on it, Sure, there's things I could have adjusted. I don't think that Zach played a perfect game. I don't think that I played a perfect game. Zach instantly, as soon as Caleb asked him, what was your number one move? His go-to answer was to vote out Crispy and to save Michael, but at what cost? The next 2 rounds was Julia and then it was Kennedy going back to back. So then you lost 2 of your closest allies, and for what? Michael still to get 5th place in the game. Sure, the prod rankings, go ahead and do whatever you want with those. But at the end of the day, I did what I had to do with established trust with people from the final 20 all the way down to the final 2. Jeremy put it best. I played the best Big Brother game I knew how to play. My social standing was so good that I didn't have a single vote cast against me. I didn't end up being that final nom until the final 8. And even then, I never felt uncomfortable with the vote happening. I always knew it was going to be a 5-0. I said to every single person voting, I'm aiming for a 5-0 vote. I'm aiming for a 5-0 vote. Down to the final 4, I knew once Caleb didn't nominate me, I knew that even if I had gone up against Caleb and I had gone up against Nolan or Zach in that final 4 POV with the final noms, I knew I was 100% good regardless because I set myself up that way. I had to get to the final 2. I had to get my chance to plead to the jury. So what I ask for you tonight is don't evaluate the perception of people coming into the game. Don't evaluate the placement of someone coming into the game. Evaluate who played the better game from day 1 to day 45. Because I'm telling you, I did, he did not. But I appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you, Devin. Okay, it is now time for the jurors to do the most important thing of the night, cast their vote. Jurors, when I call your name, you may unmute and give us one brief statement of or to the final 2. Please do not say who you are voting for. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. And then go cast your vote for a winner of 1984 Fame and Glory. First up is Crispy.
Good job, the both of you. I do really love you both. But I am going to vote for the person who played the game that I really wanted to play myself.
Thank you, Crispy. Next up is Julia.
All right, so the person I will be voting for is I won't do that. I won't do that this time. I think we've given you all a lot of shit. I think one of you played a very, very great game of Big Brother. Undeniably a great game of Big Brother. But I think one played a phenomenal game of Big Brother.
I need your vote, Julia.
It's not sending. I don't know what's happening. Move on, please.
Okay, Kennedy, your turn. Thanks, Julia.
I have been taking little videos for you guys in the jury, like updating you for both of you. And in one of them, I say to you, you are playing the best game. And that is who I will be voting for tonight.
Thank you, Kennedy. Next up is Brian, and I got Julia's too.
I feel like tonight I'm voting between my best ally and my biggest competitor, but in the end, it's no big deal.
Thank you, Brian. Nicholas, you are next.
I only have 2 words to say, and it is, I do.
Thank you, Nicholas. Jeremy, you are next.
At the end of the day, I have to vote for the only person that I think could have sat in the final 2 and potentially beat me. But I also think that one of you came into this game and played an amazing game. and one of you came into this game and played an amazing game with the odds stacked against them.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next up is Michael.
Two of my little NYC whores. I love you both, but only one can get my vote.
Thank you, Michael. Nolan, you're up.
Wow. Stunning. Amazing. Congratulations to you both. Oh shit. I think my dog is licking my bong. I gotta go.
Thank you, Nolan. And Caleb.
You both played phenomenal. And for me, social game will always trump everything else here. So, and that is what I'm basing my vote on. So.
Thank you. Give me just a moment.
Good luck, Zachary.
Good luck, Devin.
Can we
say
come
it
on
like you mean
camera?
Yeah, can we come on camera now?
You guys may come on camera.
Wait, Michael, can I get my key first? I have a Big Brother key.
Go for it.
Caleb!
I'm just
I've
mad
been
none of you
dragged,
called
but I
me
really
hot.
do love you both at the end of the day and think you both played amazing games.
Oh my God, wait, where was
I
my
love all you
key?
guys. I love all you guys.
Oh my God, I might have lost my key, actually.
I
That's
voted
not
for
a good look.
Crispy because none of you called me hot. Just saying.
Crispy did that shit.
If
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
vote for myself.
Oh, I found my key. Well, it has my name on
Sorry.
it.
Sorry,
but
even
it's
with
fine.
my receding hairline, I'm still super hot. So
Wait, okay.
Okay.
Yes, Michael Davis! Sorry, the shark shirt. The shark shirt.
Okay. For 45 days, you guys have played 1984 Fame and Glory. Thank you all so much. This has been such a great season. Definitely top tier. Both finalists, you played an amazing game. You absolutely both deserve to be here, but only one can win. So let's find out who that is. Here we go. Caleb has voted for Devin. Nolan has voted for Zach. It's 1-1. Michael has voted for Zach. Jeremy has voted for Zach. It's 3-1. Nicholas has voted for Zach. 4-1. Brian has voted for Devin. Kennedy has voted for Devin. It is 4-3. Julia has voted for Zach. Congratulations, Zach. For the second time, you are the winner of 1984. For the record, Crispy has voted for Zach. So Zach, you won in a vote of 6-3. Do you have anything to say?
No, actually, no. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been great. 1984 was my first ever org, and I never thought that I would play that org and that I would win my first game, let alone come back and win again. It's been amazing. This genuinely is my favorite group I've ever been a part of in a game. I love all of you, and this jury was stacked, and any two of us could have been here, and I'm so grateful and honored to be here right now. And I thank everybody who voted for me. And if you didn't, I don't want to talk to you. I'm kidding, I swear. But yeah, no, love you all, and thank you again.
Congratulations again, Zach. Devin, congratulations. You played a phenomenal game as well. I'm going to end the stream and I'm going to send the link over to our wonderful pre-jurors. And then once we are all set up, we will start the reunion, get some awards.